I have to show you this. So we went somewhere for Easter last year, and we had to put the dog in the kennel, and they said, "Oh, do you want a holiday photo?" And I'm like, "Sure."
With the dog?
And yeah, of the dog. And
Okay.
my wife was like, she's like, "You paid for them to take a cell phone picture of the dog?" And I was like, whatever, and then they sent this,
That's
and
that's
I was like, hilarious. I mean, we loved it. No, we were
that's
just like, "Oh
hilarious.
my gosh, that is the best thing ever." Welcome, everybody. We are back. This is series 3, The Wins and the Grind. Lisa Tilt, how are you doing? Former drum major for high school. Glad to have you back. Yes.
Seriously? That's what
Yes.
you're pulling up?
That's what I'm
Nice.
opening with.
Band geek in the house. Thank you. Where in the world did you even do?
I'm that
You're not
good. I'm that
wrong.
good. Lisa, I had to open with that because we've done so many great things, but we made a huge mistake. We started series 3 off with the best of intentions, the best idea. We were going to interview some people. It was going to be great. And we ended up not only realizing that we know some great people, but we learned a whole bunch of stuff. And
Mhm.
this episode decided to go a whole different direction. We're going to call this episode "Seek to Understand." Or Lisa, what would you like to call this episode?
I would like to call it drop the kids these days crap. That's what I'm calling it.
Eh, you can't say crap on the show. Anyway, all right,
Too
so let's
late.
I think what I found the most interesting is that, when you get into a multi-generational workplace,
Mm.
we know a lot of different stuff. And not only from a creative perspective, but just in general, we work with things differently. We look at things differently. We all have different love languages and all that kind of good stuff. We know different stuff. I think if I sit back, take time, and make sure that I'm patient, I'm going to learn a whole bunch of stuff just from everybody that I get to work with. And I'm going to throw this one at you. I had the privilege of sitting down with somebody who loves to tell stories. You know who I'm talking about,
I do.
and when he told me a story, and then he told me another story, and after about 2 seconds, after the second one, I was just like, we got to capture these are great. Never in his tenure did he even think about capturing these stories, and he took it to a whole new level. And just that, us sitting with each other, listening to each other and appreciating each other, it was that, and boom, something was born. And so creativity was at an all-time high just because the fact that we hit it off. Lisa, what do you get to see in your workplace or in your interactions with different groups of people? We know different stuff.
We know different stuff, and some of that comes from literal age and the things that you learn if you're 50 or if you're 30 and whatever. All of it also comes from life experiences and where in time you are in the world. And so every single person brings so much to the table
Yeah.
that we're remiss if we don't explore that in some way and allow the room for everybody to bring that into the workplace, because the workplace, the work output, the relationships all benefit from how we're different.
Oh my gosh. You said that
Yeah.
last that creative output just goes crazy. I think there was a stat that I got to hear it in from a keynote speaker, and she said that the amount of creativity that she gets to witness when she allows people to be people and to interact with each other and appreciate each other is mind blowing. And like, it was she had stats that showed double digit differences when you truly embrace the diversity inside of the workplace. It was freaking staggering.
Yeah. There's story after story after story of that, right? It's too prolific to ignore.
Right.
And but there's so many extenuating factors in the business that we don't always get to the human level.
Right.
and we're working against deadlines, or we're working against budgets and resourcing and things like that, that sometimes throw us for a loop in how we are able to really get the nuggets that make the experience richer, whether it's just colleagues, whether again it's the work product. And I think what we heard so much in our wonderful conversations with our younger professional colleagues, that there are a few consistent drum beats, right? And we're talking about some of those in this whole series. But so much of it was sort of the, hey, I might be young, but I know stuff.
Yeah.
And give me a platform to not only prove that to you, but prove that to myself. And I I can bring a lot to the table. So let me kind of spread my wings, right?
The other thing that I heard on the kind of on the side of that coin, not on the other side, but on the side of that coin was give me grace. And
Yeah.
that was something that again hurt it kind of touched me because of the fact that I was like, are we as a culture not giving people grace to learn? Or was there so much anxiety in a new role that, they thought it was going to be overlooked, and I I guess it for me, teaching people to do stuff, I have a passion for it. My mom was a teacher, so I just saw that in the house, in the workplace, her workplace. And so I love teaching people to do that. Now, with that, takes some patience.
Yeah.
And then the opportunity to kind of learn from each other or learn how to talk to each other to get through some stuff. So it hurt my heart again. Give me grace, and is that going to be there when I start this new job? In fact, I think I remember one of our interviewees said I would take a I would take less pay if I could make sure that I had a great learning environment at my workplace. And I was just like, it is that important to them. This was great. I mean,
Yeah.
what do
It
you
is that
remember about that?
important to them, but I also don't think they should have to sacrifice, salary for that. Like big picture, right? Because
Right.
here's my point in jumping off of what you were saying there. Learning organizations are highly adaptive organizations, right?
Yep.
So if you've got people who are inherent learners within the organization, you only benefit from that as a company. And so companies giving that space, that grace, that freedom to have thinking time to build that in. But to your point, it takes planning, it takes extra time, it takes and you and I have always come together on sort of this mentoring teaching piece. So I know we're skewed that way, which is great. And it's great for the people around us, that we're able to say, okay, but tell me more about that, and where do you go? But it's also not the experience that everybody has. And I know we talked about that in previous, I mean, we dedicated an entire series to that, right?
Right. Right.
And that's an important piece of it. Um,
Absolutely.
but but even as, I would say, an organization, and then the generation that you and I sit in as Gen Xers, to say, okay, how do I level up my direct reports
Mhm.
to connect the dots? Um, of what we're talking about, to start thinking about strategy. They need to understand all the pieces and parts that go into it. And that takes coaching, that takes learning time to say, when I was experiencing this and when I was learning, whatever it is in front of you, um, putting in that learning time is just critically important
Oh yeah.
to the end result.
So I want to double click into that.
Yeah.
When when it works, oh my gosh,
Uh-huh.
it is the opposite of the elephant in the room. And I don't even, that's the only way I can describe it. It is the opposite of that feeling, When it works, it just moves, everyone feels it. It is just a force.
Uh-huh.
And it's actually the ability to work off of each other, knowing the other has it covered, and you taught that, or you work together to learn that together and learn how each other work. It's huge in just not only the relationship, but just the success of the projects that you're working on. It is amazing. And man, if you can find a way to get it, take off with it and run.
Yeah, I know we were talking offline with producer Alyssa about that thing because it is a feeling. You know, it's very much, you almost feel it. I say, I heard an audible click, like it was gears that just literally went click,
Yeah.
and now we're humming.
Right.
And and I love how you say, you know, if you can figure out a way to get to it, but guess what? You have to create that. As
Mm.
us in the lead in the workforce who've been working for a couple decades and perhaps leading projects or whatever, that doesn't happen by accident. And I think that's one of the biggest learnings when I talk to peers. It's like, dude, you got to make that happen. And that is being highly communicative, psychological safety, where people can bring, I don't understand or I have an idea and they're not afraid to share it, regardless of what particular generation you identify with in the workplace, right? And so there's just really hard work that falls into that. But you and I have both felt it before in our respective workplaces. And when everybody is on that ship steering in the same direction, it is magic. And things happen twice as fast, right?
For our audience, let me go ahead and break down Lisa Tilt's win for the episode is psychological safety, and the grind is it's easier said than done. Lisa,
Thank
I want
you,
to
my friend. That's exactly
I want
right.
to jump into so how do you build this? How do you do this? How do you make sure it happens? You know, and I think the only way that I can kind of capture this is let them allow them to work through things. Don't take over. Let them take a stab at it. As hard as it is for us type A people, let me do it. I can do it faster. You know, let them. And I guess in your space, probably more prevalent in your space, since you do have timelines, you do have customer relationships that you're trying to foster. How hard is it for you as a leader to let them allow them to work through things or delegate?
Delegate is the magic word. But so is trust,
Hmm.
right? I feel that, and I was literally coaching one of my leaders just yesterday about that specific thing of the, oh, I'll just take it back, or thanks for your first draft, I'll just finish it. There's no learning that happens there. And guess what? When this
Exactly.
exact thing comes, the exact same outcome is going to happen,
Right.
right? And as people managers, there is a whole level of your day, a whole percentage of your day that goes into the coaching piece. And I don't think we will ever overestimate the time it takes to do that.
Absolutely.
And I, that it's just the biggest piece. So how do you make that happen, and how do you learn to delegate? There's a lot of knowing the person that you're talking to on the other side of the desk and what motivates them, what demotivates them, what their frankly learning interests are, right? So you do have to know the person, because to bring them along in a project, that's all of this is building trust.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't know about you, but I would venture to guess I'm going to delegate when I trust the person I'm delegating to.
True. True. But you took time
Yeah.
to build all these pieces and parts so that way you could do that. You know,
And
so
some of it's a leap of faith, to your point. Like if you don't have time, or if you haven't worked with that person long, or a new person to your team, there is a leap of faith piece, and an allowing them again to go back to that piece. Let me spread my wings.
yeah.
That
Well,
is that's that piece of it.
well,
Sorry.
welcome to the workforce, welcome to delegation, and welcome to
Uh,
leadership.
ay, ay, ay. Yes.
Seeking to understand, drop the kids in my day episode is done. For those of you that spent some time with us today, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let us know how we did. We have 3 other episodes in this series: teach and let them explore, enable their success through ownership, and a really interesting conversation where we take this mistake that we made in our visiting with our younger workforce folks, and it's helped them understand their relationship with work. Tune into those episodes as they become available on YouTube, the platform. With that, bye, Lisa, former drum major for high school.
Thank you. See you soon.